Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this video. Thank you, Scott, for joining us live at a very early hour of the morning. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Sanji, so much for arranging
No.
these events. I'm really quite in awe of your energy and the way that you're connecting not only with me, but with so many other amazing people in the world with such big hearts who are so happy to join the events and host events and really to give back and to help other people. So I'm really feeling very, very grateful to be involved in this movement. So thank you. And for this evening, thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking your time out to join me. And what Sanji and I decided that we would discuss tonight as an open conversation for anyone to join in, give their thoughts or feedback about, is practices to promote emotional well-being. So that's our subtopic under our
Mhm.
big topic of living consciously
Consciously.
in 2024,
Oh.
which we
Mhm.
still have 11 days of.
Sure.
So yes, yes. So Sanji, what would you like to share at this point in
Oh.
time?
Yeah, surely. We are so glad we met Anthea, and she's a wonderful person and a lot of life experience, and she helps a lot of people. And it's very nice to even hear what you say. It's very encouraging. So yeah, we are all human beings, and we can all coexist, in unity and harmony wherever we are, whichever uh, uh, kind of religion or country, or doesn't matter. No, we can. It's so nice. So uh, yeah, you come across some difficult situations also, and sometimes characters also, but what to do, no, that is how it is. So but yeah, we try to help as much as possible people. So uh, first of all, I would like to ask, please, how to say, a description about yourself, Anthea, please. uh,
Oh, sure. So I'm a wellness coach. I live in Melbourne, Australia,
yeah.
and I work with people to help them to have more energy, to lose weight, gain weight, maintain weight, or they may have specific health issues that they're looking for support with. So I can coach people on a one-to-one basis to help them, support them, and provide advice and guidance about how to achieve their wellness goals, whatever they may be. I also have particular interests in spirituality and meditation, and I worked as a an emotional well-being mentor uh, during the pandemic. I did that for about 18 months, and I worked
Mhm.
specifically with women and women who were health professionals. And the reason I chose to do that was because I was raised by a mother who was a nurse, and she was
Mhm.
actually a midwife. So she delivered babies in our local hospital. And she has since passed away in 2018.
Mhm.
She's an amazing, amazing woman, and she gave so much to the community and so much to her job. And my mother would work night shifts. So she would tuck us into bed when, say, see you later, or see you in the morning, and we would sleep. And then she would come home in the morning.
Mhm.
And as I got older, my mother would share about her evening, her work, because there were so many stories she had to tell. And she
Mhm.
would actually debrief so that she would because sometimes there were happy stories, sometimes not so happy,
Mhm.
sometimes there might have been beautiful mothers and healthy deliveries, But other times there might have been, unfortunately, the baby might have died, or the mother might have been in serious, like critical, life-threatening situation. Both
Mhm.
mother and baby might have been. So I grew up and I grew up listening to my mother's stories. And I think it's really shaped me as the woman that I am today. I'm a very good listener. And that's so basically, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but
Yeah,
worked as
fine.
an emotional wellbeing mentor with female wellness professionals and really to support them so that they have someone to discuss their highs and lows with. So I wanted to discuss this topic, have an open conversation about this topic because it's quite dear to my heart.
Mhm.
And I also wanted to hear what Sanji's got to say because she's so full of wisdom.
Oh, God. So thank you so much. Yeah, it's wonderful, and how parents also influence lives, and even the life situations, no? And
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, I'm also a meditation teacher. We do from spiritual counseling, life coaching, and we do a lot of charity work, and it goes all the way up to like suicidal prevention work or rebuilding lives. So yeah, emotional well-being is a necessity, and exactly like you say, we cannot take any day for granted, because we see like, okay, end of the year, and then uh, okay, now maybe it's time to just yeah, it's good to rest and have a holiday, but some precious things in life we cannot say, because we never know, right? And that each day counts, and there are so many ancient stories and everything. And I remember there are some even extreme incidents, like we'll try to share this along the way. But talking of emotional well-being, yeah, it is a necessity, because we can have so many material things in life, but sometimes we can be very how to say, in a very low, or even unhealthy wise, emotionally, mentally. And some people, yeah, you cannot even imagine the extremes they have fallen upon or gone through, uh, or they are stuck in, no regard. But there are some people, like when you meet along in life, uh, if you see like people who just consider them as poor, and they would think like, oh, the people should be very sad, or I don't like to even use the word, say, call like miserable, no. Uh,
Yes.
but there was a book also, no, Les Miserables, no. And but but these children are smiling. They don't have much toys to play with. They just play with sometimes a box or something. And I'm not telling they should not have or anything like that. Uh, so if they have better, it's much more very nice. But you see, like how they're happy,
Yes.
So and they are, even some families with lot of children even. Then you think like, how are they feeding them, or how are they getting the food, or like the house looks poor, but you see them all in smiles. But maybe you have some rich house with all the fancy things and all, you hear arguments and fighting, or they are in a lawsuit or divorce, no. And even the children are scattered here and there, so, or in stress or depression, or even suicidal. So yeah, emotional well-being, whichever, even from childhood all the way right up to adult times, or see as senior citizens, or even if you believe for next life, even even enlightenment, it is a necessity. So it's wonderful you selected this topic.
Okay, thank you for that, Sanji. So, I've written down some practices that I think contribute to emotional well-being. So, the first one of those I've written down, and we touched upon it last week as well, was about sleep. And I've also added rest to that list. So, for me, sleep is really important. I have a chronic pain condition that I've had for about 17 or 18 years. And so, and I touched upon it in our video last week, but what I believe happened to me was that I was working in a job that I didn't like, and I was pushing myself way too hard. And I started to experience some anxiety, and then I started to experience some symptoms of nerve pain in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was forced to stop and uh, reconsider, reflect upon my life and the direction I was heading in. And at that time, I really slowed down and took quite a different path and decided that when I was able to, I wanted to do more study into natural medicine and alternative therapies. And why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this, I'm just reminding myself because since during that time, sleep is really, really important to me, and making sure that I have enough sleep really contributes to my emotional well-being and my capacity to contribute to work and to have relationships with people and to feel good about myself. Yeah, and then rest as well, making sure that we rest. And I think a lot of the time people can get caught up uh, being busy, being productive. But I think that scheduling time or ensuring that we have time to rest and to do things like meditation practices, journaling, reflection,
Mm-hmm.
um, is really, really crucial. And I know that when I do get quite sort of caught up in different projects or feel that I'm under pressure, by slowing down, I find that I somehow am more productive.
Mm-hmm.
And even with problem solving, sometimes like I'll get, yeah, I feel like I have a problem and I'll be thinking, trying to work it out. And then once I relax and let it go, suddenly, somehow, my mind, my heart, my spirit is able to come up with a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'd like to share about sleep and rest. And I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are about it as well, Sanji.
I'll tell the extreme condition. There was there is a friend of ours, and actually he's great because he came from scratch, and now he's in a very good place because of his determination and effort and all. So actually it's a good thing to say, no, like nowadays it's a very nice thing to show a person who came from, no, the most subtlest of places. So actually he said like because those days it was ridiculed, no, like, and everybody was supposed to be in a very high place like directly, but nowadays it's very positive. And he said like I started just by pasting posters on company posters. I used to go to shops and you had the stapler machine, and sometimes they had these wooden planks or something. He would just punch them in. Then after that, he slowly went up in those companies, and then after that, then he started studying also, and now he's like in an executive position where, and then he joined like the electrical appliances field. Then after that, like he was like promoting these things and all. Now he is in a state like he makes his own products and puts it into the market. And he's like executive. Now I didn't meet him for some time now. Yeah, and he's super busy. Huh? And so he didn't have even time to start a relationship or anything. And but it's very nice, no? The only thing, it's like now it's going a little bit overboard also, because our friends, like he said, like look at him on like New Year's Eve or on holidays. What he does is he goes and he sometimes he's the only person there. Other everybody is on holiday. Uh, and now he got married recently and all it happened. But
Yeah,
uh, then he used to go and check with the other competitors like what are their products. Uh, and then he would create, because he's talented and he knows this field, right? He
Yes.
would see like, okay, what are they trying to pitch for next year? And then what happens was, he would like try to put out a better product uh, before them. Huh?
Mm.
So, but the friends were telling like, okay, everything seems good, but why not you take a rest? No, like have a break. So he was having a lot of stress, anxiety, a lot of things were going on, and yeah, it was seemed like before to come up there to that state, it's wonderful, right? The effort, courage, and everything just to keep on going with all
Yes.
the difficulties. But
Yes.
now he's in a comfortable stage, no?
Okay.
Not that he doesn't have to give up everything, but and he says, like, you know what, that we are the sinners, because sometimes we have to lie to our clients. And before I had to do that, but our directors and all, they do charity work, they help people, and we are the ones like who are doing the dirty work. We say for a client, like, even if it's still not finished the product, we
Yeah.
say hold on, just wait for the gate. We waiting for the gate pass.
Okay.
So we are lying, no?
Mm.
But our director board and all, they now I don't know whether he does this. So he said before, and
Mm.
so they are doing all this charity work and all, and then he has like, okay, they will go to heaven maybe, and we will end up in a worse place, no? Yeah, and the worst is like, the stress and anxiety and all these things he has to carry. So
Yes.
that balance and everything definitely should bear, but it's difficult to find, no?
Yes.
So like the cars, old cars and all, you have to learn how to balance the clutch and the, no, accelerate and everything, right? Otherwise,
Mm.
it can just crash, right? And so likewise, yeah, rest is also a necessity, and physically also. We'll talk more on that. I just wanted to show, like, yeah, there are extremes also, but
Yes.
definitely at some point, if we are, because you never see, like I heard, like one of the richest people in the world, he's a billionaire now, so he wants to be the first trillionaire.
All right.
So this won't stop, right? And
Mm.
they would go to, for them it's like some adrenaline rush or a game for them, right? So
Yes.
then so where does it stop? Like if there's something higher than a trillionaire, which will take like maybe a decade of his life, even maybe. I
Yes.
think he's around like 400 billion now, so he has
Yeah.
to find another 600 billion.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not that people should not, how to say, uplift themselves, but where is the stopping point, right? And how far, and if surely there's something about that, no? Maybe they'll put another name and you want to reach there,
Yes.
like those kings who wanted to be immortal or go to god status, or uh,
Yes.
live forever, right?
Mm.
So when you have power and money and wealth and everything, next thing you want to rule and, yeah, live forever even, right?
Yeah, that's right. Mm.
But it doesn't stop from there even, no?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, please tell your ideas or share your ideas.
Yeah. So that's fascinating, and I see that so much in the world that
Mm,
people and I wonder because I'm concerned that if we just keep looking to the future for, when I achieve that billion, when I can do this, when I do this, that we're not really being grateful or living in the present. And for me, I feel that if we can be happy where we are, then that's going to help take care of our future. So yeah, that it concerns me a bit, that sort
mhm,
of thinking, but it takes all sorts of people to make the human race, and human nature is fascinating. And I trust in God and what He's doing and His
mhm,
creation. He understands the bigger plans. So yeah, I just observe and
mhm.
do what's right for me, basically. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I got to know like there are people who are even faking their death just to take the jinx away.
Really?
Really, like, and they do it intentionally.
Yes.
But they are quite alive, and they do it like they put it on media and all, and it's like to they call it jinx, no, like a negative energy or like a negative force. So they think that that will bring them more vitality or lifespan, like the negative sense. Oh wow, like some people say it in a negative way. So this person is so rich or so powerful, so long life, no, and that can affect them in a negative way, so they intentionally put like a rumor that this person, and they make videos and all these things, and it's so many things happening,
Yeah, so many things. So hmm. Okay, so the next thing I had on my list was in terms of emotional well-being is connecting with people who are really positive, like you are, and like Scotty's.
and you are.
Thank you.
Thank
And uh,
Scott is awake.
Scott's still awake. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it's 2 a.m., right? Wow.
Yeah, and really connecting with people who are positive and who support us to follow our dreams and goals. So that's something that I am more conscious of now. And it doesn't mean that we should avoid people that aren't super positive, but uh,
Mhm.
I guess that in terms of supporting us on our own journey, it's really important to be around people who are like minded or like hearted and who really support us on our journey and will cheer us on from the sidelines.
Mhm.
Uh, yes, so that's what I wanted to say about that. So, what do you think about that, Sandy?
Yeah, yeah, definitely we need, no, in spiritual life also. Yeah, it's a big necessity. Otherwise, you feel like there's no captain to the ship, uh, and oh, the ship just wrecks, and then you have to gather the pieces of wood and then try to float, and then later just get. But from the very beginning, if you have, it happens in different fields also, no, or even social backgrounds, even in a family. But some things we cannot avoid, and some things we didn't plan it. No, maybe as children, uh, so if parents are doing something, we cannot. We just came, no. We are like we just like new arrivals, right, to the world.
Yeah,
So they were adults at that time. So then when you are schooling also with the teachers, and at some point in your career, if there are some people or good colleagues, uh, and or mentors, no, and idol figures, but not that ones that crash after some kind of incident, no. You look upon them, and then everything just shatters. So but we do it in a blind way also. We do it, we try to follow, and in different times, no. For example, when we were a teenager, maybe a pop star, no, or somebody would be like, oh, like I want to be something like that, no. And then but later on you understand there's more to in life, and yeah, surely God, or yeah, people we can even very idol figures, no, like Jesus, Buddha, or you see like Hindu deities, they
yeah,
I so I mean in a very positive manner. So
yes,
we always need somebody like as a role model or idol figure. So if we can think of the very best, so, for example, in the spiritual journey, if somebody seeking enlightenment, they say always like think or try to think of the fully enlightened ones.
yeah,
And then actually, there are specific days. So, ancient times, they used to allocate like 4 days per week.
yes,
And actually, you can see this in different traditions also. So, sometimes they stop everything. I heard like I'm not going to mention names. They used to even the toilet paper they would fold it and keep, and they would not do shopping or something. They cook everything, keep ready, and they just go through the religious things. So likewise, some religions, they have a long extended period, no? They do long elongated fasting and all. And
Yes.
then in some traditions, they fast in the morning and do practices. Some do fast in the evening and do practices. So there is always like, and in ancient times, it is said, like even without somebody to guide them, also they just thought it's very fascinating how the human mind thinks. So people, they had even, the employer used to bring in the employees also, and they used to think like, okay, we have wealth, we have all these fields and everything. So nobody told them. They just used to think, and they were very mindful about what will happen in the future lives and all. So
Yes.
and I remember, like when you read the ancient scriptures, if they met somebody, they would ask like, I am doing such and such things, like what will happen to me in the next life. So they
Right.
would ask like these very intellectual questions. And
Yes.
these were not scholars or anybody, just
Mm.
average people. And if
Yes.
they met somebody, like they would ask like, I am doing such and such and such things. Where would I end up in next life?
Okay.
So yeah, it was like fascinating, no? We
Yeah. Really
sometimes,
fascinating.
modern days, we don't even think of these, right? So then what happened was, these people thought like, okay, we have all these material things, we support our families, these are good people, but we cannot take any of these to the afterlife.
No.
So we need something to take to the afterlife. So what they did was, they took like virtues. This doesn't belong to specific religion or anything, huh?
Yes.
And then they started like practices of meditation. They did fasting, whichever
Yes.
practices, the wholesome practices, and they used to use a full day or a half day. So they thought, okay, like these things, the energy based ones, we can take to next life. So they
Yes.
were gathering things. So I
Yes.
think definitely we need thing to look upon, but not be enslaved also by it, right?
Yes.
Because you see cultism, no, and
That's right.
all. Because if you go to the wrong end, that can be horrific, right? If you have idealization of a wrong thing, now you see this pop culture and all, and then yeah, like the people follow, but the lyrics they are saying, what they are promoting, and you don't even see a proper verse going on, right? And it's
Yes.
sometimes all filth, and
Yes.
people pay like $1,000 just to
Mm.
buy a ticket. So it's kind of like, and what if like you fall into some cult?
Yes.
That can be horrible, right? So we
Of
have to
course.
be intelligent in that sense,
Yes.
in a bit of adult time, or if possible to protect the youngsters. And I
Yes.
think if we have some proper wholesome figure always to look upon,
Yes.
uh, and then understand, okay, this is the path, this is the journey. Even in work ethic, like if we can see somebody who's wholesome,
Mm.
not the greedy ones, not the ones who are very, tricky and trying to, some or other climb the ladder. But
Yes.
there are some wholesome characters, no?
Sure.
And then, but we should also be able to sustain. But we can always look upon some wholesome figure uh, as a guiding light, no?
Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences and wisdom and the teachings that you, lessons that you've learned. It's very fascinating. Okay, so the next thing that I have is meaningful work.
Mhm,
So for me, I sort of touched upon it before that I was doing work that didn't really align with who I
mhm,
am.
mhm,
And yeah, so and then basically my whole being said, no, don't go in this direction, Anthea. That's not
mhm,
where you're meant to go. And I was guided to do different types of work, which have been basically working with people more closely to help them and to help the community. And I've done some charity work as well. Uh, and I gain a lot of uh, fulfillment, enjoyment, peace
mhm,
from these types of work. And something that I have also considered more so over the past 10 years or so is working in an ethical way and earning money in an ethical way,
Mhm.
because the type of work we do, it's important, I believe. For me, it's personal choice. Everybody has
Sure.
personal choice, but I think it's important to consider the effects and the ramifications or ripples of the type of work that we do. So for me, I choose to do work that is going to help people and be positive.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, that's what I would like to say about meaningful work. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about meaningful work or vocations or careers or whatever you might
Uh-huh.
like to share.
Yeah, it says like if it's something you really like to do, then it doesn't become a job even, no?
That's right.
So yeah, at first we don't have idea, and now, but in modern society there are a lot of career guidance, coaches, and lot of support. In those days, like we just have like three categories or something. People can just select, and if they
Yes,
get the marks, so they are put into those categories if they like it or not. And one was leading to a medicine, other one engineering, other one commerce, four, sorry, and other one was arts. So very limited. But in modern days we see children, they have so many, and they don't have to do the regular examinations also. They can, there are so many alternatives. So but it doesn't matter, like now sometimes in some countries and all, a person who does physical work, they get more paid than sometimes a person who spends a lot or time, and their parents maybe or themselves like paying for that education, no. S-
yes,
Student loans and all these things.
that's
So
right.
yeah, it depends on what actually we have to decide, but it's difficult to decide as a child also sometimes. But at some point when you get it and understand, like, okay, this is my passion, no, this is what I like. And if it's something wholesome, that will be very nice, because you can do any kind of things, right? Yeah, there are people, no, like illicit things, no, and very dark businesses. So they might like that, and it can be easy money, but it's very dangerous and it's very harmful for society also, right? So
Yes.
but if we can find the thing we like to do, and at some point, and that's why sometimes people just give up their whole careers and select a way that they feel, okay, this is what I want to do in life, no.
Mm,
And so yeah, but we need something to sustain ourselves. We have to be honest also in
yes,
that aspect, because it's a monetized society, right? Or
yes,
monetary system, no. It's not
yes,
like uh, those ancient times, but still there are people who sustain without money also, no. And there are people who grow their own things, and no. But now the system is as such, like even for the starting of that, maybe they need to buy the solar panels and all these things. So there is some money involved, no, even if you
yes.
want to go off grid. But yeah, and definitely career based. If you, and so many people are exhausted or burnt out or really stressed, and yeah, so if we can find a passion or something wholesome, what we really like to do,
Yes.
that will be, and if we can work on that, because there are people like artists, no, or musicians, and this is what they like, and if they are paid for that, and if they can sustain through that, it's so beautiful. There are people who work with animals, no, and even animal rescue, and you see them like genuinely, like they are so affectionate. Some animals are in so bad condition, but they bring them, hug them, and then like try to, and some are like how to say, brought back to life actually, no. And they are,
Yes.
so yeah, if there's something like that, if we can even uh, sustain from what we are doing, but we have to think wisely also. Or,
Yes.
and they say like I have heard like many people say, if you want to go to that direction, also maybe if you even if you have a specific job, you can keep it until this comes up what you like, and then slowly drop the other one and
Yes.
promote this. Or while doing this, you can promote the other hobby or what the passion you like, and
Yes.
see it in a way. But now there are plenty of more options than before because of the internet. Even a
Yes.
person who's drawing art and all, they can, there are places they can showcase their work,
Yes.
even if they don't cannot afford to hire a gallery or something, no?
Right.
So there are more options than before, but the competition is also there.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But
Mm.
it would be wonderful if we can select a thing we already like, and if we are so comfortable to do, and
Yes.
then if that is helping people, and if that can sustain the person also, that would be so nice.
Yes. Yes. You for sharing that. And I'm curious, I would love to ask you, when you were a child, did you have ideas about what you wanted to do when you got older?
Yeah, yeah, the usual things, no, like be yeah. From small days, like you have no, like from the becoming a doctor to like if you see a movie or something, or then or like, oh, I want to join the army, maybe. So it
Yeah.
changes from time to time, no, not.
Okay.
But later, when you are like a teenager, you won't have all the money in the world, and or everything like glitter and status. But you
Yeah.
don't know, right? These people have to put up so much work, maybe in a dark direction even to get there.
That's
But you
right.
you have no idea, no? You just see the glamour and glitter part, and
Hmm.
wow, I want to be like that, no?
Yeah.
But when you later on in life, when you see like, oh my goodness, they have to go through hell and get there, no?
Yes.
So yeah, yeah. But first, I didn't have a proper clue or anything.
Mm.
Um, More we get like so that's why, like you mentioned, if we have some people to help us along the way,
Yeah.
that would. But I think sometimes because of our stubbornness or ignorance, as especially when we were younger,
Mm.
sometimes we think, oh no, maybe you say, but it won't happen to me,
Yes.
or your generation is, or this is a new generation, no?
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's more advanced, or like we have more things. No, we think that, but it's the same history, like repeating itself. No.
That's right. And I think we forget also, this is a little bit on the side, but we forget that our parents have been young too. So they
Mm-hmm.
know what we're thinking and what we're going through. And we
Mm-hmm.
think, oh, they're older, they don't know, but they actually do know. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like one person gave me advice, but I didn't think that at that time. But later I understood so true, and it was hurtful at that time. So I
Mm.
was like a manager also at that time, no, in
Okay.
a meditation center, and but there were some things going on, and I called these people, and yeah, there were some characters and some like it's not very clear, no, what was happening.
Okay.
And then later nothing was done, and I was also young at that time, and
Yes.
I used to call like these big people and say like, because they used to come and show like everything was done, but we were like, "Yeah, there was so much work, no? Before there
Okay.
was like 8 people to do, and then it became they had just gone, uh, and then there was a friend of ours, his father volunteered,
Okay.
and then I saw him. I also used to go there, and I said like I help him, no.
Yes.
Then after that he got upset with the head there, and he also left. Then
Yes.
I was just this little guy taking care of the office, the finances, the water, the purchasing, a lot of things together.
Yes.
And then there were things like some people in that thing were like, so I saw, but so I did like a lot of work.
Hmm.
And some people say, oh, you are son, you are in the management, so you should not associate with little people. Uh, it was because of a chair sometimes. And
Yes.
at me at that time, I would not recommend it now even.
Yes.
And they just some uh, like stupid plastic chairs.
Yes.
And because of some son of theirs or somebody had brought it and gifted it or donated it, See, son, like, don't let poor people sit on that. It's
Oh,
for like,
yeah.
come on, even
Mhm.
now, how can you say something like that? No? And it was
Yeah,
some
yeah.
crazy plastic chairs, not like made out of gold or something, no? But
No.
still, what happens, right? Then it like, then after many things happen like this, few things, and there were like groups separated, and they were even fighting over water. You have to go and check the water up a mountain, then come back to the office space. The Because at that time there was some water shortages, so a lot
Okay.
of, so there was like work of 8 people done by one, and
Yes.
so, and then yeah, I didn't take a salary or anything. Then I
Okay.
had enough and I said like, okay, I quit. No, like it's too much. No, if you don't do anything. And then one person, he didn't even, so the, like the committee board, they used to appear in the occasion times, and they would get dressed very well, and they like act like gods and goddesses around the main person there, or like
Yes.
the angels, no? And they were like,
Okay.
it is, but there were all these people with dirty clothes and all, like really going through.
Yeah.
So then I said like, this cannot be done, no? Then he said, son, you are also just how to say, uh, a wheel in the mechanism,
Yeah.
and you can be easily replaced. I felt
Yeah.
even more hurt, no, because of this.
Oh,
But later I understood it's so true. Uh,
yes.
So we think like we are important at some point, but we are also a wheel in the whole mechanism, no? If you take
Yeah.
the vast mechanism of society, or we cannot even say a wheel, no? So small, maybe millions of wheels, and we are just one.
Yes.
So, but it's very easily replaceable.
Yes.
So, what to do? That is the truth, right? Then
It
this
is.
place didn't shut down because I just went. No?
No. No.
And maybe the stuff were the same after
Mm,
that also. But
yes.
they came after also searching and all, and they want to make me the next head of the place also. But
All right.
then I would be crushed by all those sides, and there's a lot of political stuff. Political means like one wanted to gain the power, the other also wanted to gain the power,
Yes.
and yeah, there were some weird people also there who were supposed to be very holistic, and
Yes.
yeah, like, no, like the vibes and all, and
Mm,
yeah, one I said like, if you were not such, I would tell you very well, no, like because it was like my grandparents, no, and
yes.
it was like a imitation in a very bad way.
Yes.
So then you're like, oh, what is really going on here, no? So
Mm,
yeah. So, but still, they didn't close the place or anything.
no.
So yeah. We have to understand that also. No, we are also temporary, and
Yes.
but as for the time being, we can be a very good wheel that supports everybody. No, even ourselves in a very wholesome way. No.
Yes, we can. Mm, yes. Thank you for sharing that.
What to do? No.
Yeah, what to do? Okay, so uh, the next thing I've got is meditation practice, and we've probably got about another 8 minutes or
No,
so.
no problem. Take your
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. So meditation practice in terms of uh, a practice which promotes emotional well-being.
Hmm.
So for me, I started learning about meditation when I was about 19, and I was exploring. So I was raised as a Christian or a Catholic,
Hmm.
and I always loved going to church and singing in the church, and I loved praying when I was younger. And then as I was growing up, when I sort of reached my teenage years, I started questioning some
Hmm.
of the practices of the religion, and I started exploring some different ways of doing things, and started learning about spirituality, and learned. about meditation basically through reading a book, and I started practicing a white light meditation and
Mhm.
relaxing different parts of my body. And I found it very, very helpful. And then basically, so that was when I was 19. When I was
Okay.
about 30, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and I went and saw a naturopath um, to see if there were any sort of practices that I could implement to help my blood pressure to come down. And I was at that time, I was in a very stressful job again. That was
Mhm.
before I got really unwell, and I was quite anxious. And yes, so I was prescribed meditation at that time again.
Oh.
And and it's just sort of kept coming back and back into my life. And then about, yeah, 7 years ago, well, no, probably a little bit less than that, 2019, I started working, and I touched upon it last week with an amazing Indonesian lady, and she would take me through guided meditation sessions
Meditation.
twice a week, and then
Mhm.
we would do other healing work. She really, really helped me. And since then, I've pretty much done regular meditation practices, and I can meditate by myself, or I also host guided meditation
Mhm.
sessions. So I find it extremely helpful for me. And what else do I want to say about meditation? I think it's just such a vast topic, and I would love to hear more from you about
Ah.
meditation. And you could probably talk about it for hours or weeks, but
Oh no.
for tonight's purpose, I'd love to hear
uh,
your thoughts about meditation practices
uh,
in terms of emotional well-being.
Anthea, just one question. So please tell. I would love to share, listen to your experience. Sorry, and
Yes,
then in those times, those specific meditation, please tell the people how it helped you. Say in the younger ages, or like when you met this lady, and how these practices. What was the transformation, or what helped you cope up with those situations? Because this is real life experiences, right? Is it
it
okay, like if I ask like that?
yeah, that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to share more about it.
Surely.
It helps me to reflect upon it, because it's not really something I've thought about so much. So when I was about 19, I think that what was happening was that I'd always known that I was very spiritual and very intuitive.
Mhm.
And however, I was a little bit frightened of it.
Uh-huh.
So when I learned about this white light meditation, I was looking for practices that would be safe, because I was concerned about evil forces,
Mhm.
negativity. So I didn't want to play with something that I didn't understand,
Okay.
basically. So that's why I started learning about it when I was 19. So I was looking for safe practices. And then when I was about 30, it wasn't so effective, because I think I was just so anxious that I needed to make some changes in my life, which I eventually did. And
Mhm.
the high blood pressure was a sign that, yeah, I needed to make some changes.
Changes.
Then in the past, since 2019, meditation practices are both self-guided and guided by someone else, have really helped me to, and I touched upon it last week, have helped me to deal with grief and loss,
Yes.
and also to sit with my emotions. And I'm not saying that I'm a perfect human being. None of us are.
Yeah.
We're not designed to be perfect. Because
Yeah.
if we were perfect, we would be angels, and we wouldn't have to
Mm.
go through all of life's lessons. However, I do make a conscious effort to progress along my healing journey and to really connect with inner peace, and also to manage my emotions,
Hmm.
because emotions can be so overwhelming,
Sure.
and they can also trigger other emotions or feelings, and it can be very confusing, overwhelming, as I said. So, meditation has really helped me to understand more about myself,
Hmm.
understand more about my triggers and my fears, and connect them back to perhaps my childhood, and also to go through practices like connecting with my inner child. It's more probably healing practices,
Hmm.
uh, to say, I'm here for you, I love you, I'm frightened too.
Hmm.
And that has helped me to heal some trauma that I've experienced in my life. So, yeah, that's what I'd like to share about that.
Oh, wonderful. Later, in our other programs, we'll maybe do a little bit 5 minute or 10 minute meditation. Uh,
Yeah.
you can share. I also can share. One
Sure.
day you can do what maybe I can do. Anything. Goes. So,
Sure.
and if people request some practice or something, we can share what we know, no, and even do some practical thing. Yeah, so true. Like I also believe like emotional and mental well-being is a key factor. We can have all the things we need, but if we are not well, and it can go to be even like psychological disorders, right?
Yes.
And it happens because of things we did, or some how to say, one something we did with ignorance. We can
Yeah.
have everything perfect, and we somebody goes to some addiction or meets with the accident, they go clubbing and then they get drunk. It can happen, right? And then or face some very kind of harsh situation.
Mhm.
Yeah, mental well-being, emotional well-being is a must to have, because uh, even if we have everything, but if that is lacking,
Mhm.
in ancient scriptures and all, it says santutti paramandana, happiness is the biggest wealth.
Yes.
So in ancient times there are people but most of it they were like more focused on the mind. They were sustaining themselves and all, but yeah, it seems not much different. Now we have banks, but they used to like bury the treasure maybe in their premises. Um,
Yes.
and maybe that is more better even, no? And yeah. No, so anyhow, uh, uh, what happened was like they were more focused, and even a person who did farming, they had more time than us, and they had to walk sometimes, but they could go to many places, pilgrimages or any journeys or anything, but they used to have to go on a cart or by walking even for weeks on, no, or
Yes.
sometimes months.
Mm.
But they all did that. But now we are advanced and everything, but we don't have the time in the world to do anything what we like, even, no, even the
True.
simplest of things, no. Just
Yes.
have a social gathering or family members together, or enjoy a movie, or just even a discussion, no. Some people say, oh, then some people just to meet their parents, it takes ages. You have to
Mm.
make like an appointment and meet them. No?
Yeah,
So it's crazy, right? So,
it is.
yeah, well being. So it's very simple. Many practices show, and we can use so many, implement so many methods. So there's like a filtration process at the front, not suppressing, filtration.
Yes.
So that is one stage. So we can use many things, mantras, prayers, all these kind of things, or virtue, lot of things, or good deeds, all these things. There's a huge filter, but it helps the next layer also.
Okay.
Then there's a layer of concentration meditations. That what happens is some people are suffering by themselves. They
Yes.
don't even know. I saw a nice video also. That's a like a educational video, and they show two people. Uh, the one who seems very happy and active,
Yes.
one I don't know whether it's based on a true story, but
Mhm.
they go to watch sport events and all these things. But it's kind of sad also. And the silent one was, he seemed like not very cheerful or anything, but he's there. But later, next to him is an empty chair,
Okay.
and he comes and puts a shawl, his friend's shawl, and like his friend is there, but
Mm.
actually it says like he committed suicide.
Yeah,
So you never know, no, like sometimes they put a persona outside, and
that's
in
right.
some cases if you do case study and all, in the last stages, like they seem the most happy
Okay.
before the, like it's like the silence before the storm, right?
Yes.
So uh, then the next part, like working with loving kindness, deep breathing systems and all these things, is to like reduce the storm in within,
Okay.
and we can take them to different levels,
Yes.
and then we can let generate, uh, even if say like they are disabled, or they
Okay.
cannot go, or bedridden, uh,
Yes.
or they don't have a lot of money to spend, or not ability, but still it's, you can be in one place if you have time, space and time, and you can do these practices.
Yes.
And the next stage is like you go deep, huh? And now we started discussing these things in some programs, and these
Yeah.
are people from some difficult situations like war zones also, but
Yes.
now they are like in the intermediate stage. We
Okay.
learn about materiality factors, and it's very fascinating. So
Yes.
you can go to deep and mental factors, still we didn't touch that side, but
Yes.
materiality. So the idea we had of what we are carrying, and the egoic factors and all,
Mhm.
it's like in those days we used to see like the specs on a TV screen.
Yes.
Then those if the energy is not there, nothing happens, right? Not
Yes.
even the dots were black and white dots.
Yes.
Uh, but now we don't see much because now we have these different type of screens.
That's
Before
right.
we used to open our mouth and wait till the you got the signals, because then in the 80s, no, like, or the
Yeah.
90s,
Yeah.
and
You're
then
showing your age, Sanji.
what to do, right? And then then after that, these dots make some characters, and
Yes.
that makes a movie or a drama or anything, and then it says from last week or yesterday, and then today's things, and then it keeps you like tagged to continue tomorrow or next week. Usually it was like next week those days, and you're
Yeah.
like, come on, no, now we don't know, like, and they again hook you up, like say last week this happened, no. So
Mm.
this is what we are doing, but these came from those black and white dots, which
Yeah.
made some kind of figures on the monitor,
Yes.
and then we made all these stories which were like real. I
Mm.
remember, and we also were sometimes like caught up in the story, no? Oh, how
Yeah.
could he do this? Or like what happened? No, like really. So
Yeah.
this is like what we are. So this is just energy, not even the mind side. So we
Okay.
can go deep, and what we were thinking. So there's a beautiful, I'll just finish it off with that. There's a beautiful stage. One is like the filtration process. This is called Sila Visuddhi. Like it's a purification, kind of virtue, but don't get afraid of that. It
Yes.
it cleanses. Huh?
Yes.
But it's not very drastic or measures, so you have to change your life upside down. None of that. Then,
Okay.
okay, the next factor is like you try to purify your mind.
Yes.
So it's like the negatives, you don't allow the mind to be attacked by the negatives. So make your mind powerful. That's stage two. It's
Okay.
called Chitta Visuddhi, means like purification of the mind.
Yes.
Then third stage is like there's a stage, the views like we are doing with the materiality.
Yes.
And specific details are there, how to practice, what happens, all these. It's very beautiful. And
Mm.
this is called the purification of the view. So
Okay.
think like before you are taking people or trees, or my tree, how dare he cut down or pick the fruits in my tree? It
Mm.
belonged to my father and mother, my generations. You can go, I am going to have a lawsuit on this. But
Yeah.
later you understand, my goodness, I was fighting or thinking all because of these specs,
Yeah.
which my faculties even cannot gather.
Yeah.
And what purpose is that, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so this is just one small, the starting part. But when you
Okay.
go deep and deeper, all these things we were thinking as solid, they just crumble. Not that
I
we have to destroy them, but the
no.
realization happens.
Yes.
Then, like, what are we fighting for?
Yes.
So all these things, if it can be like just like dust or
Yeah.
even subtler, this is
Yeah.
just energy, the physicality only,
Mm.
not the mind side also. So this makes our views more clear.
Okay.
So this is just the third, and then what happens is, yeah, you can even check your past lives, how you came here, your future lives, all these things can be done. Then you
Yeah.
understand, like we were talking in another program also, we are like the people who open the gates when the water flows.
Okay.
Maybe this gate was made by your great great grandfather or
Mhm.
person of the village or city, and you are just the guy or man or lady who's
Yeah.
opening the gate. You didn't
Yeah.
build the gate even, no? You didn't build the water,
Yeah.
but you are diverting the water to some proper place.
Okay.
Yeah? So likewise, we are also cause in this whole system.
Yes.
So we think we are the ones who like, oh, I'm changing the water into that direction. No, you are just one part aspect, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe this gate was built like thousands of years ago. You don't know even who built it.
Sure.
And this is also made of so many other causes, right?
Yeah.
So many people involved, no? Yeah.
Mm.
So then water, you definitely didn't make it, right? So
Yes.
then we are just the person who diverts it into the good or the bad. So, and for us also, we get the food, the farmer helps us, the maybe the parents at the beginning, so many things, no, the sun, the earth, everything,
Yes.
nature. So we are also not a s- singular object, right?
No.
So it's of millions of causes.
Yes.
Then this happens that it changes the doubt factor.
Okay.
So this is called removal of doubt.
Yes.
Then when you go through this process, you understand next stage will be, you know, the proper path and which is not, which is
Yes.
leading towards like happiness and peace. It's not according to a religion or anything. And
Yes.
you get to know, okay, like this is like, because you go through all these stages, right?
Okay.
And you can have so much harmony with everything. You don't have to have arguments or I'm so true, you're so wrong. None of that.
Yeah.
Uh, then the next step is you use all these things and to go more subtle and subtle and subtle and see, say like all these things in the most subtle stages, you just see them arising and passing.
Yes.
So then we cannot say like, hey, this is this or anything. And these are real experiences. And then there are so many things happening also. And
Okay.
so this is like patipada, yeah, like the real wisdom starts growing through
Mm.
practice.
Yes.
And then the final seventh stage is considered as uh, the fruition, or like you can reach stages that you can reach, like uh, the happiness or the peace or mental or emotional wellness that
Yes.
doesn't change from time to time. You
Yes.
are in a stage that is solid and it doesn't crumble. You can
Mm.
bring, because you remove those deep rooted defilements forever.
Yes.
It's like a pond that doesn't have any mud underneath.
Yeah.
Before it was maybe full of or quite full of mud. Even
Yes.
if the wind went, it became muddy.
Yes.
But now you removed all the mud. Even if an elephant comes and jumps into the pond, nothing happens, right?
Okay.
Because like there's no mud to stir up.
Yes.
So likewise, you can bring to the mind. So yeah, so meditation doesn't mean like we close our eyes and sit. It's a very practical aspect. So even the sitting and practice, this is just practice stage. We
Okay.
have to take it to our life. That makes it like true meditation or true. So then that is the real thing,
Yes.
real meditation or usage.
Yes.
But that is the training. We close our eyes and use these methods and all. So that
Okay.
is like the training,
Okay.
or how to say the how to say probation period, Oh, like what to say, like oh, a nursery or riding your tricycle in your parents' lawn
Yes,
with your parents around or some elder around. But at
yes,
some point, you have to put it into the street. That's the time, like the maybe some people drunk or somebody's coming. No, you do everything right, but still there can be a reckless driver that's always coming onto your face.
yes.
Then that is the real time. We have to implement these things.
Okay.
So it's so nice and so
Yes,
practical. Eh?
good. So much for sharing that. Well, shall we wrap it up now?
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So we've talked about some practices to promote emotional well-being. We've talked about sleep and rest. We've talked about surrounding ourselves
Sure.
with people and mentors who support us following our dreams and goals. We've also talked about meaningful work and we've talked about meditation practice.
Wonderful. Uh-huh.
So thank you so much once again for sharing your time and your insights, experience, and wisdom with us, Sam. Thank you so much, Scott, for being with us.
uh,
And I look forward to our next events.
sure.
And that's basically all from me. Just thank
Uh,
you, and I'm grateful for this experience.
one more thing, and yeah, so you have other programs also, right? Can you please tell? Then we also want to join, and others listening to this also can join. No,
Of
what are
course.
the other programs you do?
So the other programs that I do regularly are a Monday night meditation session, which
Uh,
is at 8 p.m. on at Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
mhm.
And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to contact me. My email is info@Anthea Alexander, which is my name.com.
Mhm.
I'm on quite a few social media platforms, so you're welcome to contact me in whatever way works. And if you're interested in working with me in terms of my wellness coaching towards your health, feel free to send me an email or message me and we can have a chat and see if we're fit to work together.
That's really wonderful. Okay, then. So, thank you so much, Anthea. It was wonderful, our wonderful host. And because of you, we can actually do these programs. And for taking it's late, it's night time also for you, also, right? And for Scott, like it's early morning for you. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you, everybody, for participating. And the ones who will be seeing this video will be sharing Anthea's details also with the post, her emails, and all these contacts. So please be free to contact her or any of us for that matter regarding anything. So, we'll be able to help you in sessions, or even like if somebody's in a very critical stage, or we can actually be we can discuss and help them also, uh, regardless of the fee or anything like that. So if somebody's in no very difficult situation in life, or free to contact anytime if you are at some kind of difficult situation, or because life is so precious. And one thing I like this topic also so much, because every moment counts, no? And there are so many stories, so maybe I just finish it off with one. Sorry, for taking the time. In ancient times, there was two brothers and they got caught, uh, and the king punishes them, no? So it was it's bad. So one was executed, and the other one was spiked. It seems. You cannot even imagine. And so they were waiting this for the other one to pass away, but he was not for some reason. And then when every time the king asked, like the person, because the other one was executed, no, and then this guy was somehow the hanging on. And then the king asked, like, what happened to that person, no? And he's still living. He's still living, no? It was supposed to be a true story, yeah? And I'm not telling this. This that happened, nah? So then the king asked, like, okay, there must be some secret here or something. So he asked, like, people to watch and guard secretly what is happening. And they saw, like, in the middle of the night, a ghost appears, and tells, like, human or human, you keep on living. And he just vanishes, it seems. Huh?
Yeah.
There's a long story, but I'll just keep it super short. It's very nice to hear story. I also still love listening to stories. So then the king, like, he was not afraid or anything, no. So he wanted to confront this ghost, and he, like, came, and he, like, next day midnight, when the time, he asked, like, how, who are you, no, and how dare you? He said, like, I'm the past brother whom you executed. Huh? Really? So there's a long thing of karma, a lot of thing. I'm just telling, huh? So
Yeah.
then the king asked, like, he was not afraid even, and he was like a ruthless king also, yeah, at that time. Then he's like, how dare you tell this person you are in the afterlife now, no? But this person doesn't have a relative or anything, and he's spiked and he's dying. And how dare you come and say, like, you live, oh human, you live, no? And he said, you know what? I am in a very bad place now. And but I did some good deeds, because of that I can come and have this contact with him.
Okay.
But though he's living on a spike, human life is so valuable and you can do so many things there. That's why every night I come and say, and I know in my situation, I come and tell him, oh human, human, you even live for the next moment. I get shivers when I say this. So even, like, in that critical situation, nobody has to go through that.
Oh,
Even a villain, no anybody, no. So, but it says the value of life of a human and the things they can do. But some other things also happen regarding to karma and all these things, and I will talk about it on the next time maybe. But then the king actually released this person. So,
wow.
yeah, and because he didn't do big of a thing, he just hid the stuff that his brother stole and brought, and that's
Okay.
why, like, he was accused and, like, punished. So
Yeah.
actually then what happens was, it said, like, he how to say, he now he knew, like, what is the worth of life. No, you can just get become a criminal, and then you can even be executed. Then he took a holistic life, and it says, like, he became enlightened also, and it
Wow.
affected the king. He was like a ruthless king, it changed him. So many things happen along the way. Later we'll talk, but just to know, even these entities or something, they realize, and I also have, like, confronted or, like, connected in the sense, in a way, not that like any dark way or anything. Some possessed people I have met, and
Yeah.
they were humans who were possessed. And you feel the presence of this when you're in the forest, or you feel, and sometimes when you go to a location you feel their presence. I have never seen, I have even gone in the middle of the night just to have a glimpse of a person like that. But you hear voices and all, but you cannot see them. But actually people in that area, they have, like, a witness.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not my crazy mind or something, no. But I heard the sound, and I was, like, really curious in the middle of the night. So I
Yeah.
actually went to see this. And then later, there were some people in below that place I was living, and I asked, like, "Do you know something of an elderly lady with a voice? Because I heard her voice last night, no?"
Yeah.
And then they said, like, "I never have asked this before." Yes, yes, there's an elderly lady. She just walks on the road, and in when people are alone and all, they get to hear. Or she passes through the estates. So it there's another story to that. So many stories, right? So I'm just telling, yeah. Since you picked this topic up, it's so wonderful. Every moment counts in our life,
Yeah.
and even a baby or child, we have limited resource of life faculty.
Yeah.
So we say a child is growing up, but no. Like, if they have brought 100 years of lifespan, actually it's reducing. For us, it's the same case, no? Not in a negative way. So
Oh,
we learn to take the maximum usage of even a battery, right? Even if it's in packing and you leave it on a shelf, it's called shelf life, right? But if you don't use it, still it reduces, no? Say
right.
you use it in a moderate way, it will decrease even faster.
Yeah.
But if you waste it, it will go very quickly, no? So even rechargeable batteries, they also have a recharge or usage cycle.
Yes,
You can use it like few sometimes hundreds or thousand times, and it's done.
yes,
So yeah, like this is so nice. We must take the maximum use of even the within few days we have in 2024. We can make in the whole festive season other people's life better, another family. We can give the festive atmosphere to them also.
yes,
There are people, I remember there was a very sad incident, like we were having a festive season here and a poor mother and two children.
yes,
When everybody was on holiday, they came with some incense sticks,
yes,
and luckily we were like able to buy almost most of them, but they were horrible. Uh, the, but you feel because we knew that these people, their father was like alcoholic, the lady was being beaten up. There was a lot of problem. The saddest thing, she was carrying an infant and then the little child beside her, and they were just in front of the gate when everybody was like so happy and all. And there are plenty of people like that. So even
right.
if we can make one person's life or a family's life better in
Yes,
Christmas, no, or New Year's or anything, that will
right.
be so nice, right?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, so thank you so much, and it was wonderful to be here.
you're very welcome, and it was wonderful for me to be here too. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Good night, good morning, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.